so far this journey is kind of, it's not brief. It's not a brief journey. With looking at these, with the finances, you know, all the transactions that we do when it comes to these loans, applications, or whatever that we do. I also, you know, it's more to it than just. If you want to get a full, I want to get a full understanding. I think I was gonna make a video. I said my next video is gonna be basically a whole breakdown of us studying it together, but it's so detailed. I guess it's from my own understanding, and I want to make sure I'm thorough when I'm doing this stuff. I don't want to just be presenting any old thing and be acting like somebody, like an expert, because I'm learning this stuff as I go too. So I thought I'd wait on making a video on studying it, but what I have learned, if you look at the Federal Reserve Act, part, I think it's 16 in part 1 and part 2, it shows you in there where there's actually how they convert your application into a security. They actually took your application and they submit it into the one of the 12 Federal Reserve banks, and that's how they get the Federal Reserve notes. So your application, you can find that evidence in there, and that's not the only spot you can find it, but that's what I know by heart. You can actually find it in there. You can find it. That's how you can find it. To prove that they actually do securitize your application. So your application that where you actually gave them the information, Social Security number, the name, the address, all that stuff, your signature. They use that document to obtain the Federal Reserve notes. That's actually what pays for the damn card, whatever it is that you apply for. They just don't tell you that. That part 1 is the first part of the fraud is the fact that there's no full disclosure. They let you believe that they loan you something, and you never borrowed anything from them. You never received a check. You never saw a dollar at all, unless you paid, gave them more money out of your pocket, in the form of a down payment. But bottom line is everything's come out of your pocket. They're the ones that are empowered to actually that are authorized to take your application and go get it monetized with the Federal Reserve Bank. All the financial institutions can do that. It always made me wonder, why can't we go to the Federal Reserve Bank and do that ourselves? I always wonder that, but I guess that's their way of keeping that under control. But when people don't know they don't know the game, it's easy for us to just fall for that shit and just like apply for things and thinking that we are debtors and we're the one that's borrowing something from these banks who are not loaning us anything. I forgot since I'm driving, I can tell you what you can Google to find what I'm talking about. Also, you can Google. I forgot the code by heart, but if you Google duties and responsibilities, banks' duties and responsibilities, you can find the code. Banks' duties and responsibilities. Put that in your Google search, and you'll find the code where it says the first thing they say they can do is borrow. The banks are the borrowers. We're not the borrowers. We never have been the borrowers. They were always the one that borrowed. They the one that they use that document, the application, to get money from the Federal Reserve Bank, and then they make you think that you borrow money from them, but what they do is they loan out money that we put in the bank. That's what they do, but they can't loan money. And it even says in there in that same code that you'll find, it says that they actually supposed to pay the rent, the interest too. So the interest that they're charging us, they're supposed to be paying it. We were never supposed to be indebted to these banks at all. The banks are the actual debtors. They are the ones that they just switch roles based on our ignorance. And if you're just willfully ignorant and don't want to study anything on your own, you'll always be a slave to the system. We'll always be complaining about the system, complaining about what they're doing to us, and gatekeeping this and they gatekeeping that, and they doing this and a lot of things. We just don't know the game because we don't study it. It's funny, I actually even called. I thought I experienced doing an experiment. What was it? Today's. It was I want to say it was yesterday. Was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? I think it was yesterday. The day before yesterday. I called this cable company. It's not cable. It's internet company. I dated myself when I said cable. Spectrum. I called them, right? And just to kind of see what would they say if I was, I asked if I could speak to a manager, but they never put me on the phone with a manager that knew what I was talking about. And I was talking about the remittance coupons, just to see if anybody would be familiar with the proper way of endorsing those coupons. I call them the bills of exchange. We call them bills. Been calling them bills all our lives, but we don't know the legal term for it is a bill of exchange. That's actually what bill is short for. So us not knowing, and I used to wonder why, anyway, I'm gonna stay on topic. But anyway, we call it's a bill of exchange, but nobody, I was on that phone a whole hour. Actually, a little over an hour, and I got to talk to like 4 different people. All of them were puzzled about what I was talking about. They were trying to explain to me that I'm supposed to take that document, that thing that you tear off the bottom of your statement. You're supposed to tear it off and send it in with a money order or a check to pay the bill. I'm like, you know what, lady? I asked the lady, I say, this is something just for you to just think about yourself. Because I called myself was doing a little schooling, but at the same time, I wasn't trying to go too deep into it either. But I found myself probably did do it. But bottom line, I say, think about this. I've never used one of these things ever to pay a bill. I either just paid it over the phone. I did it on auto pay or paid it on the internet, paid it online. I've never used one of those before. And I'm talking to the lady and I'm like, I probably post that audio online because I did record it. But I was saying, just think about it. If I never have used one of these things, but I've always paid the bills, you got to ask yourself, what are these things for? If the bill can be paid without using this, what really is this? What is the purpose of tearing this off and sending it to y'all? And there are even some companies where you actually look on there and it calls it a coupon. It specifically calls it a coupon. But people, I think about the fact when you're on this journey learning this stuff. This is something I had to even look at. Keep in mind is that when I call these companies like this here, I can expect the people not to know. And there are only some companies where only certain people would know this stuff. Your best bet is to probably contact the CEO or the COO, to get clarity as to any questions concerning this type of situation. You don't want to just run around, asking the people they get paid to do the basic stuff that the ignorant public knows, because the ignorant public is generally ignorant to this stuff. They don't know nothing about this stuff. So they're going to teach you. They're only going to train them to do exactly what people are used to doing. So you speak something out of left field and there's something they're not used to hearing, they're going to try to explain to you what people are already doing and make you feel like you don't know what you're talking about. So I'm used to that now. So I went ahead. I had to end the conversation once I realized this last person I got on the phone with, she was an older lady, I could tell. But she was like adamant about what she was saying. And she was like, she kept explaining the same damn thing as if I didn't get what she was talking about. I'm like, ma'am, I get exactly what you're saying. You're talking about doing exactly what everybody on here has said. And the same thing I've been taught by people to do. But I'm letting pretty much informed that I am studying on what bills of exchanges are, and I'm learning that this is a bill of exchange. But I'm like, I'm sure y'all say, I should have known y'all wouldn't know about this stuff, because if y'all knew, you'd quit anyway. You'd probably quit your job if you knew about this type of stuff, and of course the company wouldn't want you to know these types of things. So then they'll go out of business if all their workers know this stuff. So I had to leave that alone, because I ain't want on them recorded calls. I ain't trying to get myself in no bullshit. I just wanted to kind of see if I could talk to somebody who actually knew what to say, but nobody knew. But that was one experience. It was kind of frustrating at first, especially when I got to the end of it. I was on the phone for over an hour, but I'm not going to post that whole audio there because I spent a lot of time waiting on somebody to get on the phone. So if I post it, it's going to be short, just kind of editing to the point to where you hear only the talking when I'm interacting with the different people that were working there. And I also looked in there when I got off the phone. This is what I also noticed when I picked up the bill of exchange, where it has to be mailed out to, was not the same place I called. I called the 800 number in the billing department, and I Googled that number. That number is not the exact same number where you'll send that bill of exchange. So if I called maybe to that building where the bill of exchange is supposed to go to, then I probably would have stood a better chance of getting somebody that actually knew what to do. But it makes sense for them to keep those people who knows about those bills of exchange separate from the people who actually don't know. The knows and do knows. You know what I'm saying? Don't knows and don't knows. Y'all get what I'm talking about. So it would make sense for them to keep them, not have them working together. You know what I'm saying? Totally in a totally different state. But anyway, it's a pretty good journey. You know, it's a pretty good journey. And I know that, you know, once I start putting this stuff together, and I know I need to put a power of attorney together too. So powers of attorney, you definitely want to do that. Keep in mind, y'all, a power of attorney rebuts the presumption of death as well. Remember, anything sworn under penalty of perjury is sworn and notarized. Only a living man can do that. Only a living man or woman can do that. You know, so, and then you're sending it to someone, putting them on notice. You're rebutting presumptions of death. Companies, entities can't do that. They can only their representatives can do that, and they're not going to swear anything under penalty of perjury. They're not going to put their neck on the line for the company. So they rather just kind of make statements, send out notices and stuff like that. And they can't, you know, they don't have much of a defense when a living man comes alive and he's well studied and can articulate what the law actually says. And then you stand, then they're pretty much powerless against you once you're able to know the laws and you're actually able to articulate and assert your rights. So, but I'm gonna get on off here, y'all. I gotta go up in this gym and get me a workout. I don't feel like going in here, but I'm gonna go in here. When I get that first set in, I'll be good and broke in then. So I'll wake on up then. I need a lot of rest, and I hadn't got enough rest. But I'll get something done. I'll get something when I'm done. But I'll catch y'all in the next video. If you hadn't liked and subscribed already, go ahead and do that, if you will, and help me out with the algorithm. And I'll see y'all in the next video. Hopefully I have a whole lot. I'm sure I'll have more details about my studies than I have from this video. I'm going to go into more details. I'm going to keep sharing what I learn as I continue to go. So till then, y'all, I'll see y'all in the next video. Emerald signing out.